Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. As we're seeing XRP price on the rise, we're getting more metrics, guys, coming in from countries like Japan. Apparently, according to Ripple partner SBI Group, one of Japan's major crypto exchanges, XRP was the second most traded cryptocurrency last month, right behind Bitcoin. So XRP did, in fact, even surpass Ethereum, apparently. Japan's banking sector is gearing up for a major shift, with nearly 80% of banks planning to adopt XRP in 2025. So that's also a huge milestone for Japan. In one such move, XRP has officially pulled ahead of Ethereum, guys, in trading activity. According to the SBI Group report, one of Japan's major crypto exchanges, XRP was the second most traded cryptocurrency last month, right behind Bitcoin. It says here this is a strong reminder that XRP still has a big and loyal following, especially in Japan, where it's been popular for many, many years. We got to remember back in 2017, Japan was already integrating XRP into some of their systems. They're always, leaps and bounds ahead of us in the West, I find. But regardless, we're catching up. I mean, it's getting there slowly but surely. XRP wins more trader attention. So on the SBI VC trade platform, and that platform specifically, the trading volume for XRP against the Japanese yen was higher than Ethereum's. That's a big shift, considering Ethereum is usually one of the biggest names in crypto. And considering Ethereum is number 2 by market cap and significantly bigger than XRP. I mean, if we were to just take, just do some quick math here, and we were to just go roughly, let's just say, 1/6, and we'll go divided by 136. Okay, it's about 61.25. So 61.25% bigger than XRP, the market cap for Ethereum. So that's a pretty big difference when you consider trading activity is much larger on these Japanese exchanges for XRP than it is for Ethereum. Of course, there's also Yoshitaka Kitao, the CEO of SBI Group. He's voiced his strong support for XRP, highlighting its growing use in international remittances through RippleNet. He stressed that real-world demand is key to XRP's long-term success, while criticizing Bitcoin for lacking inherent value. You can always count on Yoshitaka Kitao. XRP, I don't know if you guys remember, it was also made available on Mercoin. I did a video on that last week. I'll link that up here if you guys didn't catch it. One of Japan's biggest marketplace apps. This is a big step because it brings XRP to everyday users who might be buying crypto for the first time. Former Ripple executive Emi Yoshikawa pointed out that many Mercoin users are first-timers, which means XRP is reaching even more new people and growing in place in this market. So, when we take a look at all the factors involved, I did a video this morning talking about XRP price and how, we can look at this trend. Will it be sustained or not? I mean, it's going to depend on many different factors. If you guys didn't catch this morning's video, I do suggest you watch it. Check it out. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner. Many different things are going to be considered here. And as we're talking right now, XRP is forming that bullish pennant pattern. So that's another good indication. But there are many factors, I think, that do support this. One of the things here that Emi Yoshikawa points out, Mercoin first-time users, right? If you're getting people onboarded onto XRP for the very first time, they're going to realize, okay, it's at $2.32. They're probably going to do a little research. They might go to Reddit or Twitter or whatever. And, they might read, okay, wow, look at how much it's gone up since the elections. And so, maybe some of these people will get into charts and they'll realize, wow, it's up already 361% just since November. Maybe I will decide to FOMO in. Well, of course, newbie mistake number 1, you don't get in at this point. You get in when the market is low, when nobody's interested in cryptocurrency, because you want to make that 300% gain, right? If you invested in 2022 when you should have been investing, you'd be up almost 600%. And so, even if there's another 300% to go, 300% from 2022 lows would only bring us to about all-time high. 300%, and you got to think what people are assuming they're going to get would bring us a little bit higher. People aren't here for 300% though. Let's be honest. People are here for major activity, but we do also have to keep our priorities straight, and we have to keep our expectations in check. And so this is why I'm treating this market differently, guys. For more information on what I'm doing, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. I don't know what's going to happen yet in 2025. You don't know what's going to happen yet in 2025. And this is why I'm keeping my thumb on the pulse, and I'm going to be making decisions, boom, like that in the moment. So if you guys want up-to-date information on what I'm doing, I'm also thinking, I was floating this by the Patreon subscribers in the live chat yesterday. I'm thinking I might actually real-time trade some of my altcoins live over there. As soon as the time comes, I'll drop a live link, and you guys can watch me trade out some of these cryptocurrencies for real profit. So patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. If that is something you guys are interested in, wanted to thank Michael for posting that. Guys, we've also got some great news for Ripple partner Nubank. Their Mexican subsidiary has secured a banking license. So this is a Brazilian fintech giant, but they just recently got a banking license approval from the National Banking and Securities Commission in Mexico. The development will allow New Mexico to transition from a popular financial society to a fully fledged bank. So we're probably going to see this trend occur more and more for these virtual type banks. With the banking license, New Mexico plans to broaden its product offerings, including the launch of a payroll account. Before it can commence banking operations, though, New Mexico must undergo a stringent regulatory audit. Well, that just makes sense. Down here, we do have a quote here from Ivan Canales, the general manager of New Mexico. He did say, "The approval of New Mexico's banking license is a recognition of our solid business model and an acknowledgement of our commitment to financial inclusion." Down here, it says, "With this milestone, we will continue working to strengthen our differentiated offering, while has already made a significant impact Mexico by promoting savings and improving access to credit." Ultimately, guys, this is just another step in the right direction for Ripple partner Nubank, also partially owned by Berkshire Hathaway. I should also mention there. So that's great news. Wanted to comment on this too. Ripple partner Thunes has raised another $150 million in a Series D funding round. So these guys already Ripple enabled, and they have just received more funding. Floris DeCourt, CEO of Thunes, he did state Thunes' latest funding round is a clear validation of our strategy and our commitment to sustainable growth. Our performance, marked by a revenue run rate of $150 million and positive EBITDA, demonstrates our ability to balance rapid expansion with financial prudence, even in a tumultuous market. So they're taking no prisoners here. They're just continuing on with their strategy. Thunes' direct global network spans 130 countries and more than 80 currencies. It connects directly to over 7 billion, guys, 7 billion mobile wallets and bank accounts worldwide. You got to think, if there's only 8 billion people on planet Earth, and many of those people are children, Thunes has got a wide reach, I got to say. So DeCourt also says this new capital enables us to extend our direct global network, including in the United States, drive technological innovation from artificial intelligence to digital asset ecosystem interoperability, and deliver superior value to the members of our proprietary network. And they're likely going to continue to deliver that value if they continue expanding at this rate. So some great news here. Thunes raising some more money. Also wanted to mention this, guys, from China, Lian Bank, which is another Ripple partner. They've just announced a strategic partnership with Veeam. Back a few days ago, Lian Global formalized a strategic partnership with Veeam, a leading B2B cross-border payments platform, and 12 Victory, a prominent remittance service provider. So Lian already Ripple enabled, and they're partnering with other remittance providers and cross-border payment B2B companies that serve these types of clients as well. The agreement signings were attended by senior leadership, including Tim Shen, CEO of Lian Global. There are also a few other people involved there. Under the terms of the agreement, Lian Global and Veeam will jointly drive technological strategies, or synergies rather, and resource optimization to deliver cost-effective, secure, and end-to-end cross-border payment solutions to global B2B clients. So leveraging the XRP ledger for these B2B clients, business-to-business cross-border payments, LGPS, which is the Lian Global Payout Service, into its remittance platform to facilitate real-time transparent fund transfers from Thailand to China. So that's I guess the main corridor that they're looking at there. Here's a quote down here, guys, from Tim Shen. New e-commerce models are transforming the payment landscape, or the payment ecosystem. Cross-border merchants today operate with unique complexities, small value transactions at high volume, dispersed workflows across multiple platforms and currencies amid varying regulatory requirements. As an infrastructure partner for global trade, we're assessing these challenges with unified payment solutions that enable merchants to operate seamlessly across markets and manage international capital flows through a single integrated platform. So that is big news, guys, coming out of Asia. Another Ripple partner knocking it out of the park by acquiring more partnerships here. So we got Thunes, Nubank, and Lian. 3 individual Ripple partners continuing to make waves overseas. But guys, let's take it home. Let's look at the Fed, okay? This was an interesting, a bit of an interesting analysis here. And I've got a few tweets here commenting on the Fed and how Ripple could, in fact, be managing the Federal Reserve. So first, I'm going to start with Caitlin Long here saying, I've been thinking about why the Fed left in place one of its anti-crypto statements while rescinding all 4 others. If you guys haven't been following Caitlin, I do suggest you go back to some of her older tweets. The one it left in place, though, was issued in coordination with the Biden White House's anti-crypto statement on January 27th, 2023, and she posts the link. On this date, guidance left in place by the Fed does many things, but here are the keys, okay? It blocks banks from touching crypto assets as principal, even in the tiniest amount, so gas and transaction fees. And it also blocks banks from issuing stablecoins on permissionless blockchains. So those are the main factors there. It also maintains a Fed policy preferring permission blockchains over permissionless ones, even though the other federal bank agencies, the OCC and the FDIC, rescinded that. So what does that mean? The Fed has maintained a regulatory preference for permissioned stablecoins. When the stablecoin bill becomes the law, the Fed's preference for permissioned blockchains will be overturned. So Congress should hurry up because in the meantime, the Fed just gave the big banks private stablecoins a head start before the stablecoin market really opens up. Next, let's turn to the Fed keeping its old policy that banks can't touch crypto directly as principal. This blocks banks from making markets in BTC, ETH, and Solana, etc., something that Wall Street banks want to do, but it also does something more insidious to banks in crypto custody. Crypto custodians usually charge customers for gas and transaction fees for on-chain transactions, but by definition, they must estimate those fees before transacting, and their estimates might be too low if on-chain fees move up in the meantime. So, for example, so the trade would fail. Custodians often break up large balances into small ones for risk management purposes. So who pays the gas and transaction fees for such on-chain transactions driven by prudent risk management? A bank as a custodian cannot. This will discourage banks from entering the custody business. So that's really what they want to do here. They want to discourage them from this, or at least that's what it sounds like. Summing it up, the Fed has kept sand in the wheels. I like that term, sand in the wheels of banks becoming custodians of BTC and ETH, etc., while also creating a structural advantage for the big banks, permission stablecoins to launch now, while everyone else waits for these stablecoin bills to take effect. The Fed definitely won on the PR. Its press release listed a long list of guidance it rescinded by omitting any mention of the guidance it kept. And so that duped a lot of smart people. Understandably, y'all should be angry now that you know the truth. Even the White House praised the Fed, seemingly not to know what actually happened here. And David Sachs apparently did tweet about that yesterday. The fact raised all kinds of questions about what the White House was expecting and that the Fed had promised it to do, and the Fed with regards to the Fed/White House relations. So don't forget, a confrontation is brewing between the Fed and the White House, not just over interest rates, which media have well documented. So this is another aspect of this, but also over bank regulation, which almost no one is discussing. But as usual, Senator Cynthia Lummis wasn't fooled. She called the Fed's move lip service, and others saw through it as well. As head of the Senate Banking Digital Assets Subcommittee, Lummis has the power to fix it, so let's keep watching what happens next. So wanted to thank Caitlin Long just for bringing that to our attention. Now, guys, here's another dimension to this. I mean, if the Fed is still trying to, make it so that banks have a very hard time to custody crypto, could it mean that they want their own coin to take precedent? I mean, think about it. If there's a whole bunch of different stable coins in the ecosystem, I mean, that's a little redundant, right? Why not just stick with one? Well, then I happen to see this from Mr. Mann, the best 7 minutes you will watch today. And I'm going to play you guys most of this. It's going to put pieces of the puzzle together. We're going to see clips of Jerome Powell, Christina Georgieva, Kevin Walsh, and David Endelfado. Remember him? Not to mention James Wallace makes an appearance here as well. Listen to this.
Overall, the labor market appears to be in solid condition and broadly in balance, and is not a significant source of inflationary pressure. As for our price stability mandate, inflation has significantly eased from its pandemic highs of mid-2022 without the kind of painful rise in unemployment that has frequently accompanied efforts to bring down high inflation.
Trade policies in some places may boost inflation again while weakening economic growth. Any central bank with a mandate that includes both price and employment stability will face very difficult choices.
And, my hope is that we'll get through this and get back. Well, we're always going to be aiming for maximum employment and price stability. That's what we do. again, to your question, is the administration is, as I mentioned in my remarks, is implementing significant policy changes, and particularly trade now is the focus. And the effects of that are likely to move us away from our goals. So unemployment is likely to go up as the economy slows in all likelihood, and inflation is likely to go up as tariffs find their way, and some part of those tariffs come to be paid by the public.
When monetary policy outcomes are poor, the Fed should be subjected to serious questioning.
All right, I'm just going to stop it there for a second because I just wanted to just to intervene quickly. They're talking about monetary policy. They're talking about inflation here. They're talking about how it could have a negative effect on the economy. We haven't heard of any solutions yet. Listen to Kevin Warsh, though, talking next. Okay, this was a meeting at the IMF.
Strong oversight, and even opprobrium. But a narrow central bank, we have to recognize, has more going for it than mere tradition. Our constitutional republic is accepting of an independent central bank only if it sticks to its congressionally directed duty and successfully performs its task. Ours is, after all, our third experiment in the U.S. with a central bank, not because of the success of its predecessors, but their failure. We don't become the third central bank the way you win a third Super Bowl, like keep at it, and we keep giving you more. It's the third because we've struggled with the questions that are in the current policy conjuncture since the founding of the Republic. And what's my historical lesson from those old fights about the Bank of the United States? We should remember the revealed preference of the body politic is a deep distaste for inflation, also for bailouts and power grabs. The governance objectives, it strikes me, is clear. It's to make the central bank safe for democracy, not to make democracy safe for the central bank. So in conclusion, before Raghu comes up here and asks me a series of tough questions, I should say the Fed's current wounds are largely self-inflicted, and its plot armor isn't what it once was. A strategic reset is necessary, now more than ever, to mitigate losses of credibility, changes in standing, and most important, worse economic outcomes for our fellow citizens.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it again just there. A strategic reset is necessary. Did you hear that part?
A strategic reset is necessary.
So Kevin Warsh continues on here. I'm going to skip over some of this, and I'm just going to get to the next clip here of David Endelfado. Now, he was previously at the St. Louis Federal Reserve. Listen to David Endelfado and what he sees as a possible solution.
People say, how can you trust, the Fed to do the bookkeeping? I mean, like I said, my response is, well, you don't expect the Fed to kind of steal your money. I mean, if the Fed can print all the money at once, it's not going to mess around with your bookkeeping. So, we have this big spreadsheet, the blockchain if you want, but it's just managed by the Fed, and it's very cheap, much cheaper than Bitcoin. If you're willing to delegate the responsibility to a third party. But then the downsides to all of that, of course, is you'd actually, suppose you didn't want the Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. Suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not FedWire for all, but kind of like a Fed coin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility.
So essentially, what he's saying here, and Mr. Mann has been posting little hints on the screen here, a Fed coin. But maybe, guys, maybe it's not a Fed coin. Now, this was an interview from a few years ago. It could be something like the RLUSD. Now, I'm going to link this in the description. I'm not going to play any more of this. Think of how this could go. Okay, RippleNet, a new global payment system. And if the Federal Reserve, which already has, there have been murmurings, rumors that there have been talks with the Fed and Ripple, if they can integrate the RLUSD and make it, perhaps make that the Fed coin, that can make all the difference. The Fed is being managed through Ripple, says Mr. Mann, as the globe has lost confidence in its system and the ability to be the provider for the world. Remember, every central bank that uses RippleNet now, Ripple Payments must hold a reserve of XRP. The escrow that Ripple holds is likely part of its oversight and mandate from the central banks that have not disclosed their partnerships yet, so Ripple had escrowed those reserves for safekeeping. Let me also play you guys this clip that I did from a video a few years ago. This is the same guy, David Endalfado, from 4 years ago, guys. I did this video back in April of 2021. Did the Fed just suggest that people using XRP are the winners?
And then what I can see coexisting alongside this institution is something like a Ripple platform, that currency agnostic peer-to-peer payment system I just described that facilitates low-cost payments. So, potentially consumers can bypass Western, that $10 service fee. I mean, that's going to be a thing of the past. I mean, with Ripple, you'll be able to send money anywhere in the world for very, very, very low cost. So that's something that could come together, kind of this marriage of, well, I thought I'd end on a happy note. Don't they make a lovely couple? Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.
So that was a video, that was the tail end of the video where he does discuss Ripple and XRP. There was another clip to that, and I'm going to play you guys this one as well. This is from the same presentation. Now, these clips are disjunct. I don't know why. They're all over the internet, and I believe that this presentation was actually cut up into chunks originally, and so we're only getting fragments of this. Let me play you guys this clip as well.
The effect of this and similar rulings serve to diminish the attractiveness of Bitcoins as currency. Does anybody use Ripple? Wow. I think you guys might be the winners. Because Ripple is a currency agnostic protocol. Bitcoin wants to be the money. Ripple, they have their native currency, but they don't necessarily. Ripple is a protocol that works very similarly to Bitcoin, but it's more interested in facilitating processing payments. But it'll process US dollars, euros, bitcoins, its native currency, it's currency agnostic. And so it's quite possible that this ruling actually benefits the payments processors as opposed to the virtual currencies that really want to be competing currency.
So he basically said there, guys, if you are using Ripple, if you're holding XRP, I mean, in not so many words, you could be the winners. This is the same David Endalfado from that clip there, suggesting that the Fed, and by the way, he works for the Federal Reserve of St. Louis, or at least he did at that time. He was suggesting that the Fed could use a Fed coin, which is essentially a stable coin. And now we fast forward to 2025, the RLUSD has been released. So guys, could it be part of the Fed's new financial framework? So Kevin Warsh was speaking at the IMF. Okay, we saw that in that clip. But guys, take a look at this. Notice who is sitting in the room. Right beside each other, by the way, from the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, and we have, who's this guy here? He's Ruham Rajan, okay, of Ripple, sitting right beside each other, watching Kevin Warsh speaking there. Again, this was this conference, watching this gentleman here at the IMF. So, I mean, I don't know, could we see the RLUSD being utilized in a more meaningful capacity with the Federal Reserve in the United States? That's just my opinion, and for more opinions on where I think this market's going to go, again, guys, follow me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It's going to be a very different bull run this time around. That's what I think. That's what I've already seen, by the way. You can check it out at the link on the screen. Also, last couple of days of offering 20% off at the Working Money Channel merch store. It's 20% off for the month of April, and if you guys are interested, I've created some new logos here. The XRP Send It Astronaut tee. Check it out. Link is in the description. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.